Imagine a group of thieves pulling off a heist so bold, so perfectly timed, that it would go down as one of the most famous robberies in British history. It's August 8, 1963, and this group of 15 men is about to rob a Royal Mail train carrying £2.6 million in cash, worth around £55 million today. They didn't have guns, but they had a genius plan and a well-organized team, and they knew exactly what they were doing. The mastermind behind the job was Bruce Reynolds, a career criminal with a taste for the dramatic. His team was a lineup of some of the most notorious criminals of the time: Ronnie Biggs, who would later become famous for his prison escape, Gordon Goody, and Buster Edwards, each with their own role. But the gang didn't just rely on experience. They had an insider, a mysterious figure known as the Ulsterman, who tipped them off about the massive cash load on the train that night. To this day, the true identity of the Ulsterman remains unknown. The train, dubbed the Up Special, was en route from Glasgow to London and was loaded with cash after a bank holiday. The plan? Use an insider's knowledge to intercept the train at a remote spot called Sears Crossing. But this wasn't just a quick stop-and-grab operation. The gang had to trick the train into stopping in the first place. So they rigged the trackside signals, turning a green light to red by connecting it to a car battery. When the train's driver, Jack Mills, saw the red light, he did what any driver would do. He stopped the train. Mills' assistant, David Whitby, was sent out to check the signal but was attacked and thrown down the embankment by one of the robbers. Meanwhile, the gang climbed aboard the engine and attacked Jack Mills, knocking him unconscious with a metal bar. With the driver incapacitated, they realized they had another problem. No one in the gang could actually drive this type of diesel train. The one guy who was supposed to handle it, Ronnie Biggs, had only practiced on smaller models. After some struggle, they managed to get Mills back on his feet, just enough to get the train moving, guiding it about a mile down the tracks to Bridego Bridge, where their getaway vehicles waited. Once there, the crew quickly uncoupled all but the first two cars, leaving the main load and mail car behind. Working with the precision of a human assembly line, they formed a chain and offloaded 128 sacks, over 2.5 tons of cash, into their waiting Land Rovers. The post office workers left on board were too stunned to react, and the gang gave them orders to stay quiet for at least 30 minutes before sounding the alarm. This, they hoped, would buy them enough time to disappear. The robbers made their way to a remote farmhouse called Leatherslade Farm, where they lay low and celebrated with an impromptu Monopoly game using real cash. But the plan to stay hidden for weeks quickly fell apart. Local police grew suspicious after a neighbor noticed the unusual activity at the farm. When the police arrived, they found something that sealed the gang's fate: a discarded Monopoly board covered in fingerprints. The investigation was massive. Detectives from Scotland Yard's Flying Squad, led by Detective Chief Superintendent Jack Slipper, launched one of the biggest manhunts in British history. Eventually, most of the gang was captured and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Notably, Ronnie Biggs managed to escape from Wandsworth Prison in 1965, fleeing to Brazil and becoming a fugitive celebrity for decades. Bruce Reynolds, the mastermind, would eventually get caught and serve his time, only to become a minor celebrity himself, writing books about his exploits. To this day, most of the money has never been recovered, sparking endless speculation about where it went. The Great Train Robbery remains legendary not only for the sheer amount stolen, but for the heist's boldness, the colorful characters involved, and the many twists and turns that followed. Thanks for watching Talescape. Make sure to subscribe for more incredible true crime stories that bring history's most daring crimes to life.